If you ever plan to achieve something big in your life and then watch yourself do absolutely nothing about it for weeks, months, or even years, I want you to hear me when I say this. It has nothing to do with laziness. There's a neurological cycle running in the background of your subconscious mind that was given to you long before you had any say-so in the matter. And its entire job is to keep you from believing that wealth, success, and the life that you see for yourself is already yours to have. I'm going to break down exactly how this cycle works, where it came from, and how to fix it so your mind can finally get out of its own way. The reason why so many people never actually accomplish the goals that they set out for themselves is simpler than the self-help industry has made it out to be. Believing in yourself has less to do with manufacturing some new, confident persona from out of thin air, and more to do with letting go of the beliefs that have been stored in your nervous system since you were a kid. The confidence is already in you, but it's buried underneath a pile of inherited thinking. And as you clear all of that out of your way, the positive beliefs begin to rise on their own without you having to force it to. But the thoughts came from somewhere now, didn't they? These beliefs were planted in your subconscious mind while you were growing up, during the years when your brain was soaking up all the information without filtering out any of it. For the first 7 years of your life, your brain is in a perpetual theta state, which is basically a prolonged state of hypnosis. That means that whatever got repeated around you got recorded as a belief without your permission. Maybe nobody in your household ever sat you down and taught you how to trust your own thoughts, that you should listen to your intuition, or how to see yourself as someone that's already capable of breaking down any wall that stands between you and your goals. Did you grow up watching the adults around you settle for average paychecks, average relationships, and put off their dreams because of their own fears? Well, you absorbed all of that as behavior for yourself. It was stored deep within your mind as the normal way to live, and so here you are as an adult trying to build a self-concept from scratch in a certain area of your life, piecing it together, piecemealing it through trial and error when it should have been handed to you as you were growing up. And if you failed at something before, if you had a little resistance, whether it was a business that flopped, whether it was money that you lost, or a major goal that you quit a little bit too early on, the mind does something really sneaky with that memory. It grabs that old experience and it throws it forward into the future, treating what happened one time as something that's guaranteed to happen again and again if you keep on trying. That projection feels very real when you're dealing with it now, doesn't it? Because that's the start of the neurological cycle all over again. It can make you think that you're being smart or that you're just playing it safe and being cautious. But it's just fear masquerading as common sense. And as long as you treat it like it's the truth, it will continue to be your truth. The beliefs that you have about yourself today were written into your subconscious mind during the years that you were a little bit too young to question anything. In that theta state, your brain was operating like a sponge that absorbed whatever was in your environment around you. The tone that your parents used when they talked about money, that got absorbed in too. The way that adults in your house responded to the good things in life versus the way they responded to the negative ones, that got recorded as well. And even better, whether the people raising you believe that life was something that happens to you or something that happens through you. All of that got recorded without your awareness, and it became your operating system that you're running on right now. But the wonderful thing about these operating systems is that you can always update them to run new and better programs. Once you see that this cycle, once you see that it is what it is, you can start asking better questions about your own behavior and the identity behind it. Dr. David R. Hawkins laid out a framework that cracks this whole thing wide open, and that's why he's one of my favorite authors. It's one of the most useful ways that I've ever came across to understand why someone may struggle to believe in themselves. To segue into the higher levels of self-belief, you have to be honest with yourself about what you're getting out of your own apathy, whether it shows up as what you've labeled as laziness or avoidance or productive procrastination. Every time you catch yourself slowing down on a goal or pushing it off to next week or next month or setting some new rule that says that you can't follow through on it just yet, there's something that you're getting in return for indulging that behavior. It's an excuse that lets you save face and protect your ego and covers up what's actually running the show behind your operating system. And that's fear. You get to keep your pride, you get to keep your comfy feelings, and you get to avoid the risk of looking like a beginner, and the price that you pay is the bitter taste of mediocrity. You are already a very capable creator. Yes, you are. One who has all the tools to manifest the type of success that you desire to experience, even if you haven't admitted it to yourself yet. Your mind is already using the natural laws to create results in your life. The only question is, what direction are those results aimed in? When you take a second look at the things that you swear that you can't do, you start noticing something that may sting a little bit. Your I can'ts are really I won'ts. When you say something is impossible or you're not ready to take it to the next level, you're actually saying that you're refusing to do so. And behind every I won't sits the neurological frequency of fear, doing what it does best, of course, keeping you from believing in you. The average person typically doesn't fear whatever work they have to put in. What they dread is the feeling that comes with getting started. Feeling exposed as a beginner at whatever it is that they want to master, or trying something for the very first time and not getting instant gratification from the results. So it's just a little bit safer to not get started at all. Procrastination is the fine art of avoiding your feelings, and it's been talked about like it's a time management problem when really it's an emotional one. The dread of starting is what's holding you back from believing in yourself and from using these natural laws to create the outcomes that you say you want. For as long as anyone has been tracking these type of things, public speaking has sat at the top of the list of things that people fear the most. And in this day and age, making content for the internet is the new form of public speaking. Sitting in front of a camera like I'm doing now, putting your face out there, putting your voice, putting your ideas out there for strangers to see and judge. This is where most people hit that brick wall of self-doubt. The goal is in plain sight. They can see it. They can feel it. They know what they have to do to get to it. They know that the audience is waiting for them, and they still can't get themselves to press record consistently enough to make it all happen. What happens is the excuses start to roll in. Someone who actually wants to get started begins coming up with even more elaborate reasons to put it off, and the reasons sound really logical when you hear them out, on the surface level that is. But think about what these affirmations are really doing on a neurological level. I've heard all of these elaborate examples when I'm coaching others. Someone will tell me that they don't believe that they really have anything different to say than anybody else, that their voice might sound a little bit weird on camera, that they should probably read just one more book before they get started. These are little rules that were made up on the spot to protect the ego, and every single one of them is built to sound smart and to feel smart, so you never have to admit that there's a belief issue at the root of it. And yet these doubts can manifest outside of yourself as well, but still have the same effect. You tell yourself that you need to take a course before you can teach your own course about what you already know. You need to hire an editing team instead of learning how to edit yourself. You need to wait for the new iPhone to drop before you can upload anything. You need to save up for the nicest camera, the best microphone that money can buy, and the perfect lighting setup before you can start putting out any content. Everything has to be just right before you can begin, which sounds responsible, except the magic was never going to be in the gear. The magic is in the act of getting started. You start with what you already have, and the rest will get built along the way. Here's a little exercise that you can put to use after you watch this video. It's something that I do pretty often myself. Go look at your favorite personality on YouTube, and if you don't have one just yet, I'll assume that position and you can do it my channel. Go to their channel, go to the video tab, and sort the oldest videos right up to the top. You'll see that anyone with a respectable following didn't start out perfect. The lighting was bad, the audio was mediocre, and the delivery was super awkward. But there they are, with nothing but value and self-belief on full display. Authentic is one of my favorite modes to operate in, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a plot twist. I myself was scared of public speaking right up until the day I sat down, turned on this camera, and started talking to it in order to launch this channel. The fear didn't leave before I started. It left because I started. That's what most people don't see, because it's the behind the scenes type of thing. For weeks as I prepared to start, excitement was not the thing that was flooding my nervous system. It was fear. The average person is sitting around waiting for fear to go away first so they can feel ready, and that feeling is never going to arrive. The action is what gets it to arrive, not the other way around. It really does help to get clear on how fear actually shows up in this neurological cycle, because the reason it keeps winning is that we often are looking for it in the wrong form. We expect fear to feel like fear. Your heart is pounding, or you feel a little bit of a cold sweat creeping in. But from a neurological standpoint, fear is much more sophisticated than that. It wears clever disguises that you've been told to listen to, that you feel comfortable listening to. And what's holding you back from believing in yourself is almost always fear, showing up in a costume that you've been conditioned to mistake for something else. Here's a short list of the most common disguises that I've observed when working with clients. Number 1, perfectionism. On the surface, perfectionism looks like you're having high standards, which is why people tend to brag about it and applaud themselves for it. They pat themselves on the back about it. But when you look at what it actually does in your life, you'll see that it rarely leads to success. Perfectionism is the fear of not being perfect. And because the standard you're measuring yourself against can't really be reached, you end up avoiding doing anything consistently. Your mind will ruminate on the possibility that if you gave it your full effort, your best effort, and it still came up short, then you have to face the idea that your best isn't good enough. So, the ego shields you away from that by keeping you from getting started or being consistent in the first place. Mission accomplished. You'll just stay right on there in the planning phases, in the research phase, and the I'll be ready next month phase, and you'll label it as being productive when it's just really productive procrastination. For our second disguise though, under perfectionism sits an even deeper layer, which is vanity. And this one stings a little bit more because when you spot it in yourself for the very first time, it's going to be a little bit jarring. The real question behind most self-doubt is this: are you willing to let go of your vanity for just a little bit so you can let yourself be awkward as a learner? Are you willing to look clumsy on camera, stumble through a few of your first videos, write a business plan that nobody wants to immediately invest in, or start a podcast that only gets 12 views in the first month? Most people would rather stay polished and protected rather than to look imperfect, even if it's just for a temporary moment. The ego mind is engineered to protect the illusion of being a flawless expert than risk the reality of being a beginner. Modern minds have been trained to think that life should just look like one big highlight reel that you see on Instagram and TikTok, where everyone seems to be winning with no extraordinary effort put in. Most people go out of their way to avoid showing the not so glamorous middle phases of patience and persistence. With all that being said, there's only one thing left to do to fix this whole dilemma, and that's to get started. If you already got started, then keep going. Belief is something that compounds on itself until it transforms into knowing. You plant seeds every single day in your new identity, and as long as you keep planting, as long as you keep watering, it will grow and become the person that you want to be in full. The seeds are smaller than what most people want them to be, but trust me on this: one action taken when you didn't really feel like it, and one moment where you chose to persist instead of quitting when nobody else was around to see, that's where the real magic happens. Those are the seeds, and sowing them looks like nothing special on their own, but give them enough time and consistency and the harvest will always be in your favor. And you'll soon notice that the actions that you take will expose the fear programming that you inherited from people in your past. Those memories are going to start pouring out and they're going to start flowing, and understanding will come as a natural byproduct of it all. And once those negative beliefs have risen up to the top, just taking action to keep going is just enough to permanently change your pathways in your brain to support your success. Trust is the highest form of self-belief because trust in yourself is what confidence is all about. You're telling your subconscious mind that you trust yourself and the value that you have to show the world, even if the results haven't shown up just yet. And your subconscious mind, which may have been watching you break promises to yourself for years now, starts to reorganize reality around this new code that you just installed. It believes you now because you're giving it the best evidence to do so. Hold on to this that I'm teaching today and master this powerful art of self-belief, because nobody can believe in you more than you believe in you. Every single step on this staircase of success was a previous failure. The entrepreneurs that you look up to, the influencers whose content that you love, the people whose lives you admire, every single one of them climbed their own staircase of failure until they reached success with the exact same gifts that you have within you right now. Failed attempts, awkward beginnings, dropped projects, stretches where nothing seems to be working. These are never roadblocks. They're the price of admission to the very best timelines of your life. The limiting beliefs that you've been carrying around since childhood are false. They are an illusion. They're fake news. They're not real, and they were never yours. So why don't you just give them up for good? The universe doesn't respond to your planning. It responds to your identity. And letting go of all that inner negativity opens the door for your inner greatness, what you could call the higher self. Let go of the negative feelings that kept you comfortable, and you'll be surprised by the power of positive thoughts radiating from your new identity. Self-belief isn't earned. It's not something that you have to invent or get lucky to be born with. It's always sitting there underneath the disguise of fear, under the excuses, under the procrastination, under the old beliefs that you inherited from people who didn't know how to believe in themselves either. Your job is to clear the path, take the first step, and the next one after that, and the next one after that, and to keep going until reality has no choice but to acknowledge your greatness. If this episode hits home for you, type, "That makes sense to me," down in the comments and let me know this wisdom served you well. The links below will take you directly to my reality creation ebook and every single resource that I put together to help you master this process. And when you're ready to go further than a single YouTube lesson can take you, make the move into my Universe program. It includes my 5-layered identity shifting system and a direct pathway to work with me one-on-one to reshape your self-concept from the ground up. All the links are down below in the description and in the pinned comment. I am Shaun, and you are neither here nor there. Thank you for sharing your time and space with me.